Let's talk about the Ten Commandments. For a lot of people, they feel like something from a different world. A list of rules carved on stone tablets, given to Moses on a smoky mountain thousands of years ago. We see them in old movies, or maybe on a plaque in a courthouse. They can seem ancient, irrelevant, just a bunch of thou shalt nots. A list of things to make you feel guilty. And it's easy to think that way. We live in a complicated world. We have endless laws, regulations, and social norms. What can a short list of 10 ancient rules really offer us today? Is their only purpose to be a historical artifact? Or is there something more going on? What is their real purpose right now for? The answer isn't simple. It's not just one thing. The commandments work on a few different levels. They're not just a simple list of dos and don'ts. They are more like a diagnostic tool, a mirror, and a map. They tell us about God, they tell us about ourselves, and they show us a better way to live with each other. To get it, we have to go back to the beginning. We have to understand where they came from and why they were given in the first place. The story starts with a group of people who had just been freed. The Israelites were slaves in Egypt for 400 years. That's a long time. Generations were born and died in slavery. It was all they knew. They had no laws of their own, no national identity beyond being Pharaoh's workforce. Their lives were dictated by the commands of their masters. Their gods were the gods of their oppressors. And then God rescued them. Through Moses, he led them out of Egypt, through the Red Sea, and into the wilderness. They were free. But what did that even mean? Freedom isn't just the absence of chains. If you just set a million people loose in the desert, you don't get a nation. You get chaos, you get a mob. They needed a new way to live. They needed a structure. They needed an identity. That's where the Ten Commandments come in. God brings them to Mount Sinai. This is the moment where he makes a formal agreement, a covenant with them. He's not just their rescuer anymore. He's going to be their God, and they are going to be his people. This agreement needed terms. The Ten Commandments are the core terms of that relationship. They are the constitution of this new nation. So their first purpose was incredibly practical. They were the foundation for a new society. Think about it. You have a massive group of ex-slaves. How do you build a stable community? You need basic rules. Rules about justice, property, family, and respect. The commandments provided that. Don't murder, don't steal, don't lie about your neighbor. These aren't just good moral ideas. They are the absolute minimum requirements for any society to function. Without them, everything falls apart. Trust disappears. Life becomes a constant battle for survival. But the commandments were more than just a legal code for a new country. They were revolutionary because of how they started. The first few commandments aren't about how to treat other people. They're about God. This was the most important part. The foundation of Israel's identity wasn't going to be a king, or a territory, or a shared language. It was going to be their shared relationship with this one God who had saved them. This is often called the two tables of the law. The first tablet, or the first set of commandments, deals with our relationship with God. The second deals with our relationship with other people, and the order is important. The idea is that if you get your relationship with God right, your relationships with other people will start to fall into place. How you see God shapes how you see everything else. Let's look at that first table. The first command is, "You shall have no other gods before me." This sounds simple to us, but in the ancient world it was radical. Everyone believed in lots of gods. There were gods for the sun, the rain, the harvest, fertility. Each nation had its own collection of gods. What this command said was that Israel was different. They were to be loyal to one God alone, the God who brought them out of Egypt. What is the purpose of that today? Most of us don't worship statues of Baal or Ashtoreth. But idolatry is still a very real thing. An idol is anything we put in the place of God. It's whatever we give our ultimate loyalty to. It's whatever we look to for our ultimate security, meaning, and happiness. For some people, that's money. For others, it's career success or political power or the approval of others. It can even be good things like family or love. The first commandment asks us a very modern question. What is the most important thing in your life? What is your true north? It forces us to be honest about our loyalties. The second command goes with it, "You shall not make for yourself a carved image." This is about not trying to control or manipulate God. An idol, a statue, is something you can see and touch. You can put it on a shelf, you can carry it around, it's a God you can manage. This commandment says that the true God is beyond our control. He can't be reduced to a picture, a statue, or even an idea that we create. He is always bigger than our understanding. Today, we might not carve wooden idols, but we create mental ones. We try to make God fit into our political party or economic theory or our personal preferences. We want a God who agrees with us, who backs our agenda. This command reminds us that God is wild, mysterious, and free. We are meant to worship him, not manage him. Then comes the third, you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. This is so much more than just a rule against cursing. It's not primarily about saying a bad word. To take God's name in vain means to empty it of its meaning or to attach it to something worthless or evil. It's about hypocrisy. It's about claiming to be a follower of God and then living a life that contradicts everything he stands for. It's about using God's name to justify hatred, greed, or oppression. When someone uses religion to scam people, or to start a war, or to look down on others, they are breaking this commandment in the most serious way. It's a command for integrity. It says if you're going to associate yourself with God, then your life needs to reflect his character. The fourth command is about the Sabbath. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. For many modern people, this one feels the most outdated. A whole day of not working. It seems impossible in our 24/7 culture of constant productivity and busyness. But its purpose today is maybe more important than ever. The Sabbath is not just about taking a day off. It is a radical act of trust. It's a weekly declaration that our lives are not defined by what we produce or achieve. It's a statement that the world will not fall apart if we stop for a day. It is a way of remembering that God is the one who sustains the universe, not us. In a world that leads to burnout, anxiety, and a constant feeling of not being enough, the Sabbath is a gift. It's a command to rest, to recharge, to enjoy creation and relationship with God and others. It's a rhythm for a healthy human life, a rebellion against the tyranny of the urgent. So those first 4 commandments set the foundation. They orient our lives toward God. They deal with our worship, our humility, our integrity, and our trust. Only then does the list move on to our neighbors. The second table of the law starts with the 5th commandment, honor your father and your mother. This is the bridge command. It connects the 2 tables because our parents are the first authority figures we encounter. They represent a kind of order and structure in the world. This command is about more than just being polite to your parents when you're a kid. It's about respecting the very idea of family, heritage, and social structure. It recognizes that we don't create ourselves. We come from somewhere. We are part of a story that began before us. In a culture that often idolizes youth and dismisses the wisdom of the elderly, this is a call to humility and respect. It's about acknowledging our debts to those who came before us. It's the foundation for a stable society, where one generation passes on wisdom and care to the next. Then we get to the famous halt nots. The 6th is, you shall not murder. This seems obvious. Of course we shouldn't murder. Every society in history has had a rule like this. But like the others, there's a deeper purpose here. It establishes the infinite value of human life. Why shouldn't you murder? Because every person is made in the image of God. Their life is not yours to take. It is sacred. This is the bedrock of all human rights. It's a statement that people are not objects to be used or discarded. They have inherent dignity. And later, Jesus would deepen this command. He said that it's not just about the physical act of killing someone. It starts in the heart with anger and contempt. When we dehumanize someone with our words, when we wish them harm, we are violating the spirit of this command. Its purpose today is to challenge us to see the sacred value in every single person, especially those we disagree with. The 7th commandment is you shall not commit adultery. This is another one that seems straightforward. It's about sexual faithfulness within a marriage. Its practical purpose is to protect the family. The family is the basic building block of society. Adultery creates chaos, it breaks trust, destroys relationships, and harms children. It introduces instability and pain into the heart of the community. But again, there's a deeper level. This command is about covenant faithfulness. It's about keeping promises. Marriage is a covenant, a solemn vow. This command tells us that our words matter, our commitments matter. It is a call to integrity in our most intimate relationship. And like with murder, Jesus also took this one to the heart level. He said that to look at someone with lust is to commit adultery in your heart. The purpose is to call us not just to faithful actions, but to a faithful heart. It's about treating people as whole persons, not as objects for our gratification. Next is the 8th. You shall not steal. This command protects the idea of private property, which is another essential element for a stable society. It allows people to work, build, and save, knowing that the fruits of their labor are reasonably secure. It prevents the strong from simply taking whatever they want from the weak. But its purpose goes deeper than just preventing burglary. Stealing can take many forms. It can be a corporation exploiting its workers by paying them less than a living wage. And it can be a company deceiving its customers with false advertising. It can be wasting time at work when you're being paid to be productive. It's about respecting what belongs to others. It calls for fairness and justice in all our economic dealings. It asks us to be givers, not just takers. The 9th commandment is, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. This one is specifically about lying in a legal context, like a courtroom. It's about protecting justice. If people can just lie under oath, the entire legal system collapses. No one can get a fair trial. But its purpose extends to all of life. It is a command for truthfulness. A community cannot function without trust, and trust cannot exist without truth. Today, this command is profoundly relevant. We live in an age of misinformation, fake news, and social media slander. Rumors can destroy a person's reputation in minutes. We can edit our online personas to present a false version of ourselves. This command is a call to be people of our word, to speak truth even when it's hard, to refuse to spread gossip or slander. It's about building a community where communication is based on reality, not deception. And finally, we arrive at the 10th commandment, which is unique: you shall not covet. This one is different from all the others. The others are about actions. Don't worship an idol. Don't kill. Don't steal. This one is about a feeling. It's about a desire in your heart. To covet is to have a consuming, obsessive desire for something that isn't yours. It could be your neighbor's house, their spouse, their job, their car, their success. This command gets to the very root of so many other problems. Why do people steal? Often because they covet what someone else has. Why do people commit adultery? They covet someone else's partner. Why do people lie to get ahead at work? They covet their colleague's position. This command shows that God is not just interested in our outward behavior. He is interested in our hearts. He knows that wrongful actions begin with wrongful desires. The purpose of this command today is to be a direct challenge to our consumer culture. Modern advertising is essentially a machine for generating covetousness. It is designed to make you feel discontent with what you have. It creates a constant sense of lack. You need a new phone, a better car, a more exotic vacation. You need to look younger, be thinner, have more. The 10th commandment is a call to contentment. It is the secret to peace. It's about learning to be grateful for what you have, rather than being constantly tormented by what you don't. It is the internal work that prevents so much external damage. So we can see that even on a purely practical level, the 10 Commandments provide a brilliant blueprint for a healthy society. They lay out a vision for a world where God is honored, families are stable, life is sacred, and people can trust each other. They are not arbitrary rules. Each one protects something vital. But this brings us to a huge question, especially from a Christian perspective. What did Jesus have to say about all this? Did he come to get rid of these old rules? Some people think so, but that's not what he said. He said, "Do not think that I have come to abolish the law. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them." What does it mean to fulfill them? Jesus did two main things. First, he showed us the true meaning and purpose behind the commandments. When a religious expert asked him which commandment was the greatest, Jesus didn't pick one from the list. He summarized the entire thing. He said, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the great and first commandment. And a second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments depend all the law and the prophets." This was a profound insight. He was showing that the 10 Commandments are not just a disconnected list of rules. They are a description of what love looks like. They are the shape of love. If you truly love God with all your heart, you won't worship other idols. You won't misuse his name. You'll want to rest in his presence. And if you truly love your neighbor as yourself, you won't murder them, or steal from them, or lie about them, or covet what is theirs. The rules aren't the point. Love is the point. The rules are just the training wheels. They show us how to live out that love in the real world. So, one purpose of the commandments today is to be a teacher. They teach us what love for God and neighbor actually involves in practice. But there's another deeper purpose that Jesus reveals, and it's a bit uncomfortable. Let's be honest, have you ever tried to keep all of these commandments perfectly? Not just the actions, but the heart-level stuff that Jesus talked about. Have you never been angry with someone? Never looked at something with lust? Never been jealous or coveted what someone else has? Never put something else, your job, your comfort, your reputation before God, even for a moment? If we are truly honest with ourselves, the answer is no. We have all failed. We all fall short, and this is where we discover a second crucial purpose of the 10 Commandments today. They act as a mirror. A mirror doesn't clean you, it just shows you the dirt on your face. You can't wash your face with a mirror. In the same way, the commandments can't make us good people. They can only show us that we are not. They expose our failures. They reveal our selfishness, our pride, our disordered desires. The Apostle Paul in the Bible talks about this. He says that he wouldn't have even known what coveting was if the law hadn't said, "You shall not covet." The law showed him a standard he couldn't meet on his own. This is not meant to crush us with guilt, though it can feel that way. Its purpose is to lead us to humility. It's to make us realize that we can't save ourselves just by trying harder to be good. It dismantles our self-righteousness. It forces us to look outside of ourselves for help. For Christians, this is the point where the commandments push us toward the idea of grace. They show us our need for forgiveness, for a Savior. They act as a diagnosis of the human condition. The diagnosis is that we are all spiritually sick and we can't heal ourselves. So, the commandments serve as a societal blueprint. They serve as a mirror showing us our sin. But is that all? Once we recognize our failure and in the Christian faith accept grace and forgiveness through Jesus, do we then just throw the commandments away? No. This leads to the third and final purpose of the commandments for today. Once our relationship with God is restored through grace, not by our own rule-keeping, the commandments take on a new role. They are no longer a ladder we try to climb to get to God, and instead they become a map for how to live in relationship with Him. They become a guide. Imagine being adopted into a loving family. The family has certain ways of doing things, certain house rules. These rules aren't there for you to earn your place in the family. You're already in. You've been adopted. The rules are there for the good of the family, to help everyone live together in peace and love. They show you how to act like a member of that particular family. In the same way, for a person of faith, the Ten Commandments become a guide for how to live as a child of God. They are no longer a heavy burden of have-tos. They become a joyful path of get-tos. We get to live in a way that honors our Creator. We get to build communities based on trust and respect. We get to live in freedom from the slavery of our own selfish desires. The commands show us the path to true human flourishing. They describe the kind of life we were designed to live. So, what is the real purpose of the Ten Commandments today? It's not one single thing. It's a rich, multi-layered answer. First, they remain a timeless blueprint for a just and compassionate society. They show us the basic principles necessary for any community to thrive. They remind us of the sacredness of life, the importance of truth, and the foundation of the family. Even in the secular sense, their wisdom is profound. Second, they serve as a powerful mirror. They reveal the truth about the human heart. They show us our universal tendency towards selfishness and our inability to be perfect. They expose our deep need for something beyond ourselves, for mercy, for grace, for forgiveness. And third, they act as a guide. For those on a path of faith, they are not a grim list of rules to earn salvation, but a beautiful description of what a life of love looks like. They are a roadmap for freedom, showing us how to live in a way that honors God and enriches the lives of those around us. They are not an irrelevant list of thou shalt nots. They are a profound statement about reality. They tell us that our lives are meant to be oriented around a loving God. They tell us that other people are to be treated with dignity and respect. And they tell us that true freedom is not found in doing whatever we want, but in learning to desire the right things. The commandments start with God who rescues his people from slavery, and they end by targeting the covetousness that enslaves the human heart. They are a gift. A challenging gift for sure, but a gift that, even thousands of years later, continues to diagnose our problems, point us to the solution, and show us the way to a better, more whole, and more truly human life. They're as real and as relevant as the human heart itself.